Hi, I'm Olga and welcome to my kitchen. Today we are making a grain-free, high in protein, full of blueberries and deliciousness pancake bread. This is what it looks like. The tray is still hot. I came up with this recipe by accident out of necessity. So one Sunday I was preparing to make blueberry pancakes for myself and my family. And as I was mixing the dough, my husband all of a sudden had a change of plans, whatever we were planning to do that day. And I realized that I do not have time to stand there and individually make each of those pancakes if I want to be able to be ready on time. So I ended up making the dough quickly and loading it on the tray like this on a parchment paper and sticking it in the oven to make it like a giant pancake. And in the end, it ended up being a very successful, very delicious recipe, which I call it a giant blueberry pancake. This bread is full of protein because it contains eggs and cottage cheese. It is completely grain-free because I do not tolerate any grains. It's full of blueberries and it's moist, and at the same time it's delicious and tastes like pancakes. You can slice it and eat it like pancakes, but it's also at the same time very portable. The reason I'm making this bread today is because tomorrow I have to go on a short trip with my husband, and we're going to be staying in a hotel. And because I'm the person who cannot eat most of the foods outside of the house, especially breakfast in the hotel, where they serve muffins and bagels and other things. There's nothing for me to eat. So I'm used to bringing my own bread with me everywhere. And this bread is usually quick to make and easy to eat in the hotel. For this recipe, we're going to need 5 eggs. This is our protein here, and cottage cheese. It also gives a nice texture to the pancake bread that we are making. Then we're going to need 2 flours, almond flour, and I use arrowroot flour, arrowroot starch. We need sweetener. I use stevia extract, the one from Trader Joe's. You can use any one of you want. I'm gonna add a little bit of vanilla extract to it, and pink salt. Pink salt is important when you're using stevia extract. It balances out the aftertaste from stevia. Then we need, for the bread to rise, we need either baking powder, but because it contains corn flour, or cornstarch I should say, I don't use it. I use baking soda mixed with cream of tartar. I used to make my own baking powder before, but I just feel like it's easier to use these 2 ingredients. And of course we're gonna use berries. I'm gonna use blueberries today, but you can also use a berry mix, except for strawberries. I would not use strawberries in here, but all the small berries mix you can use in there. And for the equipment, we need an oven. We need a cookie sheet, 17 by 12 I use. It's, I think, 43 by 30 centimeters. We use a hand blender, a mixing bowl with a spatula, and I think that's it. I'm going to preheat the oven first to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. I believe that's 190 degrees Celsius. So I put the berries in the freezer for now, and first we're gonna make the dough. So in a mixing bowl, I'm gonna break 5 eggs. I forgot to mention measuring cups and spoons in the equipment list, but we need measuring cups. So this is half a cup measuring cup. I need 1 cup of cottage cheese, so I'm gonna use 2 of these measuring cups, and I use low-fat cottage cheese just because I try to limit the amount of fat I use. But if you're on a keto diet and just prefer a full-fat dairy, go ahead. It really doesn't make significant difference. Now I'm going to add 3 squirts of liquid stevia. 3 squirts, I mean, you see, like, it's about halfway filled pipette. as much as you can. It's really does not make a big difference. If you like it sweeter, you can add more. If you prefer it less sweet, add less. And then we're gonna add about 1/4 teaspoon of pink salt. I'm gonna just grind it, eyeballing it. I've heard this tip before a long time ago from somebody, that when you use stevia with pink salt, it takes away the unpleasant flavor, like aftertaste, that people complain about sometimes about stevia. And I feel like it really works. So that's what I've been doing since then. And try it out. Let me know if it works for you. So about 1/4 teaspoon of salt we used, and now we need a little bit of vanilla. I use about a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Trying to keep it fast and simple. Next is baking powder, or a mix of baking soda and cream of tartar. As I mentioned before, I don't do baking powder because of corn in it. So I take, you're gonna use, if you're using baking powder, 2 teaspoons of baking powder. If you're using baking soda and cream of tartar, you're gonna use 1 teaspoon of each. It usually rises beautifully. Cream of tartar, I get mine from Amazon. And honestly, I had this bag for a long time. Next, I'm gonna blend all the ingredients before adding the flour to it and the berries. So this is the texture of the batter before we add the flour. You see, it's kind of like a thicker, creamy, and it's starting to rise already because of baking soda and cream of tartar mixing. Most importantly, you want to make sure that there are no pieces of cottage cheese in there, that it's all well incorporated and creamy. Next, I'm going to add 2 cups of almond flour. This is like important main ingredient in here. I was sad when I found out that in Europe, almond flour for some reason is very expensive, and it's not as easily available as in United States. The same bag of almond flour on Amazon in France is 60 euros. My mom wanted to buy some, and unfortunately she cannot make a lot of my recipes because of no almond flour in there. And 1/4 cup of arrowroot starch. This is one of those rare starches that my body digests with no problem, and I'm very happy about it because this is my way of feeding my good gut microbiome without having any digestive issues. So I would highly suggest that you try it out if you're similar like me, have to avoid a lot of starches and grains. I've tried also cassava flour, tapioca flour, and that didn't work for me. But arrowroot flour is my body does not have any problem digesting. All right, now I'm gonna blend everything. Another thing about arrowroot flour and baking without using any grains is that it gives that texture to your baking goods that you're making, that's similar to the bread, regular bread that people use grain flour in them. It gives it that little crispiness, a little kind of shine to it, so that's why I like it as well. So this is the texture of the batter after we added and blend all the flours. Kind of thick. So you see, this is what it looks like. Now we're gonna add the berries. I don't need my blender anymore. I can clean it off. I like to take out as much of the dough as I can. All these ingredients, they're costly and I don't like to waste. If you've seen my other videos, you know that I even cut out rotten parts from the apples to make apple pie. I don't like wasting things. I use silicone spatulas to scrape off, clean the things, so almost good. And now we just need to add the berries. I decided to add both berries in it, but I'm gonna use mostly blueberries. I'm gonna use about cup of blueberries. I like a lot of. I want it to be nice and moist. So I'm gonna, I don't know if you can see, a cup of blueberries. And I'm gonna use the berry mix because I like when it's baked. The other berries like raspberries and blackberries, they look juicier than blueberries in there, and they kind of keep the dough moist. So I'm gonna use about also a cup, but I'm gonna take out strawberries from there. I'm gonna be careful pouring it in. Oh, another strawberry. I don't want strawberries. So here we have 2 cups of berries, and now I'm just gonna mix it all in. So all the berries are covered with batter. It makes for the messy kind of looking dough or batter because it has streaks from the berries melting, but we're trying to keep it quick. This is not an aesthetic pie. This is practicality here to make it quick and to make it delicious, and most importantly it's nutritious, full of protein, full of antioxidants and other things in here. And now we're just ready for the, my hand is dirty, to put it on a cookie sheet. I'm just gonna pour it in. Technically, you can now take this dough and use like a 1/4 of a cup scoop and cook them in a little bit of oil in the pan to make pancakes. But as I told you, this recipe was made out of necessity when I did not have time to stand there and cook individually every pancake. So we're gonna bake the whole thing as a one giant pancake. And this way you actually save using some oils in here, so it's going to be low in calories and low in fat as well, because pancakes you need to add something to make them crispy on the edges on the outside, some kind of oil or butter. So I'm just gonna, so you can see what I'm doing here. My berries are melting to put them back in the freezer, so it's kind of like a little bit grayish bluish dough and lots of berries. I want every bite to have some kind of juicy berries in there. I'm trying to do it as even as I can, but I don't want to stretch it too thin because I want to have some kind of bite to it, not to dry it out too much. So here we're ready to go into the oven. To keep it quick and easy, I'm not gonna add anything to it. You can, of course, become fancy and add something to the top, maybe some nuts or something like that. But today it has to be quick. This is the name of this giant pancake. And it's ready to go in the oven. In the oven we go. I put it on the middle rack. And I'm gonna put the timer on for 22 minutes. I might end up adding another minute or two to that time, depending on how it's looking. But I know for my oven, at least 22 minutes will be good. If this is your first time making it, start checking on it at about 18 to 20 minutes and see what it looks like, and if adding more time. And then you're gonna know already after that. The oven just beeped, so you see 22 minutes exactly. And look at this beauty. Ready. I need to let it cool down before cutting. If I were to stand here and make pancakes out of this batter, it would take me a long time, at least 30 to 40 minutes. And here I prepped everything, put it in the oven for 22 minutes while I was cleaning up my kitchen, doing other things. This pancake bread is ready and ready to eat. All right, It's fresh out of the oven. The tray is still a bit hot, but I can touch it. My kids always are surprised that I can touch things that are hot and they cannot touch them. But because I am older and my fingers are calluses on my fingers, and I can tolerate hot temperatures for longer than my kids do, but they're always surprised in any event. So we're gonna split this bread into 24 even slices. I use pizza cutter, it makes it much easier and faster. So I'm gonna cut it in half lengthwise and cut it into 4 strips lengthwise and into 6 strips like the shorter side. So I'm gonna split in half and then make about even slices for like 3 strips on this side and 3 on this. I don't even try to make it exactly even slices. It all averages out in the end, but here we are. So one of these slices, look how beautiful it looks. It does feel like a pancake. Once you cut it, it looks and feels like a pancake. So we're gonna have 83 calories here, 4.5 grams of protein, 2.7 grams of net carbs, and 5.7 grams of fat. There's also a lot of potassium in here, 87 milligrams, and a lot of calcium, 33 milligrams. So it's a very good and delicious bread. You can eat a few slices without guilt. You can put syrup on it or whatever you would put on a pancake, or you can enjoy them just the way they are. So if you like this idea of a giant pancake bread that saves you a lot of time and cleanup and calories as well, please click a like on this video and subscribe to my channel for more living food videos. Finally, I can try it. Looks delicious. You have to put a lot of berries in here, like 2 cups. You can even add a little bit more, because the juiciness of the berries, that's what makes it delicious, but at the same time the dough. And of course my dog is right here. She knows when I'm eating the bread. Of course, Sky is right here ready to try my bread. I don't know how she knows. When I would be eating salad, she's not coming over to me, but for the bread she loves it, right? Yeah. Good catch. I keep leftovers in the refrigerator and I will toast each slice before eating it again. So here is my pancake bread in the hotel room. Hello. They have refrigerator in the room, so I was able to keep it in the fridge. If they didn't, then I would just keep it in the cooler with some ice, just to make sure that it doesn't go bad. And there is no microwave or anything to warm it up, but I toasted it before at home, so it's quite edible, quite good to eat.